play that.
Okay, and we are live? No. Ja, we are live now. Okay. Hallo Leute, jetzt geht's mit XCOM 2 weiter. Wir haben hier einen der Entwickler, und zwar Art Director Greg Racing Furch. So wird's ausgesprochen. I had to look at it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. It's a lot of consonants.
I'm the stupid one of the group. So you got the right one for your game. I'm a huge fan. I already told you that. Ich habe schon gesagt, wir haben schon ein bisschen geredet. Ich bin großer Fan. We have a 10-minute video with gameplay elements from the new XCOM game.
Yep.
And do you want to explain to the viewers what is the story setting, or will it be in the trailer?
Yeah, the story is sort of in the trailer, but the bottom line of it, and we kind of do a little setup here so people can actually digest it, is that XCOM, you never won the last war, but you lost early, and it's 20 years later, and it's a Unification Day celebration, which is where the aliens are reaching out to humans that this is a great blessing and that they're a beacon of hope for us.
Yeah.
And trying to draw people into the cities that they've now built, these gleaming, white, sparkly clean metropolises. And the very intro of this sets that up a little bit for the viewer, and then after that gameplay takes over. And
so it's more about rebellion. It's not you're not a big organization funded by the world like in the first game. Now it's completely different.
You're a guerrilla group that is bootstrapped and looking to take back the world. So
I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of the old series, and I've never ever played a game in that series where you were the guerrilla group.
Yeah.
And that's quite a unique approach, which I like as a fan, because everything else we've talked about before you were here, everything else I've already seen, and I guess a lot of XCOM fans as well.
Yeah.
So you did really something unique and creative.
We tried to, and it really fits the XCOM model, and the squad size and the recruitment. It felt so easily XCOM, right? So. That's kind of how we went into it.
Okay, we're gonna watch it. Some gameplay footage. You're gonna explain what we've seen. Of course, you can't explain everything because it's kind of spoiler.
Yeah, there's stuff. I'll be careful with
here. Yeah, we gotta be careful. And I'm gonna explain to the people that they may ask you questions via Reddit. So, also Leute, falls ihr jetzt gerade auf Englisch das nicht mitgekriegt habt, ihr könnt Fragen stellen auf Reddit an Greg, den Art Director von XCOM 2, und guckt euch am besten erstmal das Video an. Wenn ihr Fragen habt, stellt die in Reddit, und wir werden versuchen, ich betone versuchen, so viele Fragen wie möglich dann auch zu stellen, zu beantworten. Ihr könnt die auf Deutsch stellen, irgendjemand findet sich schon, der es dann auf Englisch übersetzt, beziehungsweise meistens ich, und das reicht ja. Ist zwar Denglisch, aber reicht. So, now we're gonna watch the trailer. It's about 10 minutes. Oh, and it's very loud. So I can't hear you right now. Wait a second. I gotta change to the desktop. Okay. Michael, ich höre gar nichts. Es ist so laut. Das ist gerade so laut, ich höre gar nichts.
Was ist so laut?
Ja, das Video. Ich höre quasi nur Spiel. Ich höre nicht mein Gerede. Ich sag ja nur, also irgendwie musst du mal vielleicht bei Twitch fragen, was man da macht.
Behind the assault of the gene therapy center, Advent has assured all citizens that today's celebration will continue as planned.
Signal gate crasher. Take it down. Advent's little circus is dead ahead. Keep a low profile and deliver the package. Remember, the crowd has them distracted.
Great.
Take advantage.
The transition was great.
Yep, and this is gameplay. And now you're in a new mode called concealment. And it's a squad concealment, so there's a screen space effect to let you know you're in there.
So how did the aliens manage to take over the world? Okay, I can believe that. But how did they manage? Oh, wait a second.
Better get your last looks now.
How did they manage that people wanted to live in their cities?
Yeah.
You can't talk about it
That's we'll probably be talking about story a little later.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll become a little more clear.
So you're the art director. What's an important part of your job to the people who don't know what an art director does?
Sure. So basically, I end up setting the vision. I work with the creative director and production to try to figure out what the game's going to look like, and to manage the art team. The biggest problem, challenge with XCOM is that the cameras can be anywhere. So I've got to make sure that we're making art that holds up, close in like this, and then zoomed out where you're in a 3/4 view. And so balancing that is always kind of tricky. But I like to move the camera around a lot. I'm a big fan of that. And
you literally saved. Oh, wait a second.
Advent's got this whole city in their grip. We're gonna have to go through.
So Central's back.
Might as well get the drop on them first.
And then those little red squares, that's the concealment border,
Yeah.
so you can see when you're going to get into it.
What I wanted to say, you literally saved the whole series
Eyes open.
from being just another XCOM title, because you found the right balance between cutscenes, between action.
Yep.
I mean, it was a game that looked kind of boring,
Yep.
where nothing ever happened while you were playing. I mean, stuff happened when you were shooting or throwing a grenade, but the rest was just menus and kind of boring stuff. But now you see it; it's completely different.
And this is so much more easily played.
I'm sorry. It's I hope it's still okay for the audience outside. It's just a little bit too loud for us here.
So the player experience super important to us, and making that sort of visceral experience and emergent narrative. And so we tried to do a lot of that. It's a fine line in balancing that between the gameplay experience. We don't want to interrupt it too severely. We want to just make a really cohesive play.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it. So it's a lot of balancing and tuning, and like how much are we seeing this, or is it too frequent that we're dropping the camera down? There's a lot of passes go into how often those happen and where the camera is for it, and how it all works.
Did you have an idea or a glimpse of the story for the sequel while you were developing the original one, or did you just let's throw everything out? I mean, on my watch, the aliens didn't took over.
Yeah.
I gotta say. So you're not playing you're not creating my secret.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of ideas for a sequel.
Great. New enemy.
There's the Snake Woman. I always would joke that I would never make a Snake Man, but I made a Snake Woman.
You did it.
And she is just lethal. I mean, she that tongue grab, and then she binds you. Is just a devastating thing. She can just rip you right out of cover. And then we've got new melee, is new to XCOM 2.
A sword, okay.
Yeah.
Why a sword?
The Ranger class has a melee weapon like a sword.
Oh, you have a lot of different.
Yeah, they've got melee, and melee is a good part of 2.
What about tanks? I always loved the idea of building, of inventing own tanks and using them on the battlefield. That's also great. I love all the cutscenes. It just makes everything more lifelike.
But see, I mean, that's your guy that you just built, and you want to see him do something cool.
Yeah.
And it's so much more rewarding when you get down there and actually see it. It would have taken the same time to play from a 3/4 view, and so we get in there and try to really reward the player with some cool shots of what they're doing.
How would you sell the series to someone who only plays shooters, who only plays Call of Duty, who wants instant action, who is not a friend of tactic or strategy? How would you sell it to them?
Well, I challenge them first to play a game with permadeath, but where your characters die and they're gone, right? But no, I mean, look, when we set out to make XCOM, we set out to make an awesome game and a fantastic player experience. Like that is king in our studio, whether it's art, design, tech, and for us, it wasn't we were making a strategy game. We were making an awesome game, and so it's got elements of all those things that you like. and it's just a really different experience. And frankly, there's really not much out, especially when Unknown came out.
It's a
that was even close.
experience.
Yeah, it's a very unique experience.
You said it before. There's not a lot of competition. You have games like Banner Saga, which is not like even comparable.
Yeah.
So you're the only ones with aliens, and right now Guerrilla.
Yeah.
Anti-alien squads.
And it's sci-fi. There's cool tech. There's you got a giant flying base. It's awesome. You know.
Right now we have some people in the chat who are like, "What is this game? I don't know. I don't like it. It looks like crap." These are the young ones who have never played XCOM, who just don't know what kind of a legacy that is.
Yep.
It's an awesome game series. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
Really, and these guys saved it for you guys. So pay some respect, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, again, it's a game that has a lot of artistic challenges that are very unique, and you've got to kind of take that into consideration a little bit. But again, I'm pretty excited about the art we've got and the art that my guys have made, and you know, the stuff holds up.
How free are you in developing the art direction and creating the experience? Is there other guys above you who are like giving you strict restrictions or anything? Or are you free?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the art has to function, right? And so there is a lot of times that's our Berserker.
Also a new enemy.
That's one of the new enemies, and same with the mechs. But you know, I usually talk to the creative director, and we kind of come down on things, and a lot of times it's got to function, right? And it's got to work for the game primarily, and then we kind of work from there. But yeah, that's kind of how the process generally works.
I mean, the exciting part, beside the action and the strategy, is also that you can you have to analyze your victims, analyze the aliens, find their weak spots, create new weapons based on your autopsies. Yep. So it's, I mean, right now we're just seeing the game, the action, but there's a huge other part which includes base management, which includes science and production of weapons and
some resources,
and you have to crawl your way up from deep down, usually in XCOM. So you start with nothing, you have crappy weapons. How did you create the illusion that you have to start again from the bottom after there was already a game?
Well, I mean, that was, God, how did we do that? That's a tough question.
Or did you just we just lost all our weapons?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of like, you know, we there's some core mechanics that we like to include, and some baseline stuff that makes sense, and then we kind of just rethink how all of it works, and we're a pretty unique studio. We've worked together for a really long time. The team is the same team from Unknown, and several projects before that, so there's a whole high level of trust. We talk pretty clearly, and we look at stuff really critically, like what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty honest dialogue, and as we look at stuff, there's stuff that falls on the cutting room floor and stuff that kind of rises up, and feedback comes from anywhere. It could be the guy you just hired 2 weeks ago or a guy who's been there for 10 years. So we're pretty inclusive about all the feedback and how that process works, and you know, the cool thing when you're making a game and it starts out, you know, it may start out somebody's idea, whether it's the creative director or the art director's vision or whatever it is, but when you're doing your job right, you know, at some point in the project it turns into the team's game, and those guys push it forward and they make it better and they make it cooler, and I think we're really receptive to that, and that's kind of the culture we try to build, and you know, hopefully we create a play experience that people enjoy. So
it's a great experience. I like what I see. I mean, we've just seen one mission, and we haven't seen the geosphere. We haven't seen how the core game. I mean, you have to develop a base. You have to create something out of nothing, and we haven't seen that yet. And you won't spoil it, right? Because it has to look something. It has to look different, because you're not the major anti-alien organization anymore. Yep. And I'm really looking forward to that. I said it, and I really mean it. It's It's no ass kissing. It's a unique approach to the series, which I really respect and like. So
Yeah, the other thing
I'm looking forward to play it, of course.
The other thing that's worth pointing out too is like that map you saw is entirely built to be procedural, right? For the demo, it is, we have specific things, we're trying to do specific stuff, right? But that map is in, like, that whole set is in a rotation. How that's built, you won't see the same thing twice. You may run into some elements, but that's a huge part of this too, and another visual challenge, right? Like you know, how many games out there are completely procedural, right? And that was something we heard a lot of fan feedback. That was the number one item that when we went into the room afterwards, after we shipped Unknown, we're like, we have to do this. And so myself and the lead programmer, we set off to do this while Enemy Within was being built. And so we started a pretty simple system that we added to gradually as we needed to put new knobs in. And once our LDs got on board, they just drove it a whole nother level. So, like, the things in the street, they're completely different than, like, streets are just streets, right? They're just plains. And the stuff that populates on the street is different, as well as the stuff that buildings and parks and all that other stuff. And so, again, there's not a whole lot out there like that. And that was a challenge from the old XCOM, UFO Defense, that we really wanted to try to embrace and bring forward. And having gotten Enemy Unknown under our belt, we felt like we had a lot more clear vision of how to take that. So, that's pretty exciting. That's the thing I'm honestly, one of the things I'm the most happy about is the procedural levels. And again, like, visually, I think people are going to be surprised. Like, the quality of the characters is truly amped. Those models you saw in the trailer, they're the game. That is the sectoid, right? Like, that's the sectoid. And so that's the guy you're going to see running around this big or giant, right? So
I want to kill him and give him to my scientist.
Yep.
That's all I want to do.
Yep.
I always loved it too. When you play XCOM games and you kill stuff and you collect stuff, you have like 20, 30 topics to research, and it's always the problem. Which one will give me at the end, at its end, a big weapon, some kind of breakthrough, some paradigm change, whatever. I don't know, but you always hope. Sometimes you save and reload. And just try to find the way. So I'm really looking forward to play it. We have a lot of questions. I hope we have a lot of time as well to answer them. It's right now at 78 comments. Maybe I will scroll through, and maybe if you see something that you want to answer.
Yeah, the first one, the soldier classes, we've revealed 4. We've got
wait a second. Kurze Frage, weil ihr die nicht seht. Let me show the questions to the people. Okay, that's great.
Cool.
Let's use that.
So we've shown 4. We've got we're focusing on the specialist and ranger in the demo, but in the trailer we gave a little glimpse of the sharpshooter and the grenadier, and each one of them has some pretty unique stuff to them. And we're going to get more into that at some point later before the game comes out. But yeah, there's they each feel really different. Like they've got a very unique feel to them. We really wanted to kind of push them away from each other. And same thing, as we were developing Aliens, the same thing. We really wanted to push them and what they can do kind of into very unique categories. Yes. So I think people are going to be pretty excited about the melee and having a gremlin. You've got this awesome claptrap-ish kind of robot that flies around and can really help you out and do a lot of stuff for you. So it's very different changes for XCOM, right? Like there are definitely big steps in making the classes feel really different. Yeah. So,
and I guess the balancing is very, very important and very difficult.
Yeah.
The more classes you get, of course.
Yep.
So how did you test it?
We're still testing it. We're still testing it.
You're still testing.
You need
someone to help you test. I would know the guy.
Okay. Yeah, so, we're still doing a lot of tuning and a lot of. Again, we really want to make the player experience pretty cool. even down to the UI, like the UI into it moves, it animates in, it animates out, it idles. If you notice when you watch the demo, like grenades cause the camera to shake or explosions, like the camera reacts to the environment. Everything's destructible. We've got floors and ceilings that are destructible. So the fidelity of destruction is even higher. Yeah, you can actually take out a floor, right?
Ah, okay.
And so that's new, right? So there's like everything fidelity-wise has been taken to a whole new level with the game, and it's I think it's going to be a really cool experience for people. I'm pretty excited for it to go out.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So, what else we got?
Yeah, let's scroll through the questions.
So,
in the old XCOM, we had the mechanics of panic spreading across the planet and doing mission to keep our funding and support. You kind of already answered that. You're now part of a rebellion.
Yeah.
How is a rebellion funded, and how do you get countries that are occupied by aliens to fund you?
Yeah,
that's an interesting idea, but you won't talk about it, right?
That's getting, again, there's a lot of tuning on. That's part of the bigger narrative too. So, but that is something we will talk about at some point.
I mean, it's really a game I don't want to spoil.
No, that's cool.
Me.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to blow anything for the fans out there.
That's also a great question. That would also be in my list. Will there be enemy attacks on the home base? Because I always love that random attacks at your home base. You have to develop a strategy to succeed if that happens. Sometimes a base where no one was waiting was attacked and you lost it instantly.
Yeah.
And it was always like.
Well, now you got one base, but it moves. So but, I mean, we that was one of the things we put the enemy within, right?
Yeah.
And we and so that's something we're probably going to think about. But I don't want to commit to anything.
You've already shown it in the trailer, and you've kind of pointed it out right now. You only have one base.
Yeah, one base and it flies.
It's a sky base. It's like in Avengers.
Yeah.
Like
now it's actually named Avenger, right? But but it is not named after the Avengers. It is named after the UFO defense.
But
one of the ships was the Avenger, right? And so that's why it's named. It's actually named paying homage to the original XCOM. From '93.
But I guess you will still get sued.
I don't know. We got lawyers.
You don't care.
I'm an artist. What do I know, right? Copyright.
It's not your problem.
No, but yeah. So I think it's a really unique thing that we have. It's a former UFO that's been reconfigured, right? So
it's getting interesting.
Yeah. So
that's getting someplace.
That's a little something. I think that's already out there, right?
You can't travel to another planet, or you won't talk about it. You can Okay, it's always the same.
We'll see.
Maybe you have multiple dimensions, like in Apocalypse. I don't know. Do you have a multiplayer mode? I'm the one who actually played the email XCOM, which was released 15 years ago. We had multiplayer in EU. Yeah.
And we're
looking forward to that too. Okay, we have a few questions left. We have only a few minutes left also, so let's concentrate on...
I think the Long War mod is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that those guys did it, and we're super committed to that happening more. Like, we really... Mod was the next thing after procedural levels. Like, we wanted modability. And so we're really committed to that, and that's something that I can't wait to see what people do with it.
Modability is getting more and more important to publishers.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of bonds the community and, of course, expands the lifespan of a game.
Nothing I like more than fan art, and I can't wait to see what people do when they actually have tools, right? So I'm pretty excited about that.
Long War mod, you already talked about it. The game seems to be more guerrilla style, which is correct. Will this affect the combat system, quick hit and run combat, or not? That's also quite
you've got melee, right? Like you've clearly got melee elements in the game, so that is very different.
But I mean,
that is affected by
I think he's talking about the main missions. Will there be big missions where you just I don't know.
Well, we have multiple mission types.
Or will there be stealthy, where you're against a huge army, stuff like that, where you can't just kill everything that moves?
There's missions that are not about kill all aliens, right? So the one in the demo is sabotage, right? So that's one of the mission types there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that again, we really have tried to push things apart from each other in a way that provides a lot of replayability for the fan, and also gives us a nice contrast in the pacing. With EU, almost every mission was kind of kill aliens, and with 2, you get a lot more contrast in the mission types, and and I think that really will help the flow of the game to be a little different.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, we only have time for
That's fine.
1-2 questions more. Here's a very specific one. Maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah, if you save them, you get their gear.
Okay, okay, just a yes.
Yeah. If you pick them up and carry them out, you get their gear and they're gone. I think Garth talked about that. But yeah, you get their gear and they're gone.
Okay, great. Still Long War. Everybody loves the Long War mod, which is great. Will you hire? That's a very particular question.
Oh, I don't know.
Will you hire the creators?
I love those guys. I don't know. That's way past. It's way outside of my zone at this point. But yeah, I mean, I love what they did. I think they did an awesome job, and I hope they do something with 2 because I feel bad if we didn't make it easier for them the first time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be great. So I'd love for them to do it.
The fact that you're like trying to get modders to work for your game is like the result of awesome mods like the Long War, right? So you saw it, people did it. Oh, that's awesome. We got to make it more easier for them. I'm sorry. People are making that gesture. I don't know. Maybe they want to kill you. I'm not quite sure.
They might. I don't know.
I'm not going there anyway. So thanks, Greg.
All right, cool.
It was awesome.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
I really hope, that's.
Thanks for all the questions, and I hope you guys check out XCOM too.
You can actually check it back. It's on Rocket Beans.
Okay.
You won't see, but there are a lot of questions.
Great.
There are like 80 questions. They're all interesting, but we can't talk about it anymore. We will maybe do it another time. Maybe,
definitely.
Maybe
Love
on
to.
Skype
Love
or something.
To. Thanks
a lot, Greg.
Thanks,
it was
guys.
awesome.
All right.
Danke an euch für die vielen Fragen. Das ist das Mikro, was gerade jetzt geknackt hat. Ich weiß auch nicht. Wir sind natürlich total dankbar für alles. Es tut mir leid, wenn ich jetzt vielleicht auch von den ersten Leuten, die eine Frage gestellt haben, die Frage nicht vorlesen konnte. Es waren einfach zu viele, aber viel dafür mitmachen. Und jetzt müssen wir, glaube ich, direkt los zur Werbung. Was soll ich machen? Moment. Da ist ja der Tim. Da ist der Tim Schäfer. Wunderbar. Ich kann aber jetzt, könnt ihr euch gerne angucken, aber ich glaube, wir machen jetzt Werbung. Wir machen Werbung. Okay, gut. Danke. Das war's von meiner Seite. Tschüss, Leute.